welcome to our final countdown for the Dune War for Arrakis Kickstarter livestream. I'm joined here today by producer Thiago Aranha and game designer Francesco Nefitello. How are both of you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm happy. I am glad to be at the beginning of the end, as we're about to ramp up. The 48 hours are closing in, and I've been enjoying this.
Yeah, me too. It's been a cool experience, especially for this new angle that we have with people being able to play the game already, so and share their experience with it. So it's been really interesting, and we'll have to do it again with other games in the future.
Well, people are asking for for this to go much beyond what the scope of what we are doing. So the possible futures that this course may take us, we never know.
In case you guys watching us don't know what we're talking about, you can go to Tabletop Simulator right now and try out the game. It's not something that happens every time, so enjoy it and give us your feedback. It's very valuable to the team. They are watching it closely. And as far as I know, playtesting a few things that were suggested, right?
Oh yeah, it's worth mentioning first that what you're going to play with Tabletop Simulator is the current state of the game as tested in the alpha stage of playtesting, and so it is work in progress. So it's going to change, and that's a good thing because it's going to change as far as tweaking and fixing and making everything smoother. And yes, we're listening to the feedback. We're listening to feedback of the players, and of course, the interesting stuff that comes up is evaluated and put to the test. And so some of you will eventually see stuff that they suggested, or at least that they raised a concern for, to be adjusted and fixed in a new iteration of the rules.
Yeah, whatever makes the game better, we're up for it.
Absolutely.
I just like to share a little anecdote because I'm looking at the sandworm models here on my desk, and I was just reminded because I brought these things home to do the live streams and whatnot, and so my 5-year-old daughter asked, "What are these things?" And it's sandworms, and she just took them and started playing with them. And so the other day she went, "I want to play Snow White and the Sandworms." And so she was just playing the sandworms.
Talking about a possible future.
a very unlikely possible future. But then the best thing was the other day I came home and I saw on the table there were the two sandworms with plates in front of them and a whole tea set for them. Like she was having tea with the sandworms. It was adorable. I enjoyed that.
That's very adorable, actually.
And I started to teach her, okay, so how do you ride the sandworms? You put the thumper down, and then Snow White is going to put the maker hooks in, and then open the ring so the sandworm rolls, and then she rides until the sandworm is tired, and she
we need a song.
The whole story of it.
Snow White is a Fremen confirmed.
Yeah. That's the next stretch goal. We're doing a crossover with Snow White, for sure. No, it's been great. We've been unlocking some very interesting stretch goals, trying to bring some variety, blend your game and add extra exclusive gameplay in the shape of the possible futures. We unlocked, it was great to be able to bring this guy back into the action, Duke Leto Atreides. It was always a shock when he was taken out of the picture so early. So it's very nice to be able to explore like what he would have done had he lived to fight the Desert War, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The death of Leto was a George Martin type of moment for everyone reading the original novel. It can't be possible.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we also, in terms of the things, we do unlocking all the blink to make your board nicer. So we had already done the Peon villages, and then we unlocked the ecological testing stations, which are really like embedded in the rock and all that. And then I really like the
Carthag,
opulent Carthag, which I think it's a really nice design, capturing that kind of over the top attitude of the Harkonnen in their capital city.
The brutalist architecture of the Harkonnen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
No,
I love how
I really love how the things bring out the theme.
yeah, and how compact they are, but how flavorful
Yep.
they can
yeah,
be.
they're basically the same general size as the tokens, so they don't take more space on the board, but they just make it come to life.
Yeah.
Well, what have we unlocked since we last spoke?
There was one kind of surprise stretch goal that we kind of snuck in yesterday between stretch goals, which is a thing that the design team had been working on. Even basically, once we announced the game, I started seeing the feedback of, will there be a solo mode? Will there be a solo mode? And of course, once the campaign launched, that only escalated. And like I was always talking to the design team, and the attitude was, try, see what you can do. If you ever find something that you feel confident that you're happy with, that playtesters are happy with, we do it. If you don't, we don't do it. Like, because this is not what the game was created for. Like, it is a war game between two factions. So like, we didn't want to shove in a solo mode just to make people happy, and then they go and play it, and it's a bad representation of the game. So we waited until we had something that we were happy with, and okay, do you think we can do it? Is this good enough? Is this fun? Does this work? Okay, then we do it. So how was that process, Francesco?
Yeah, that was really cool because yes, it was a question that was there since the beginning, but there was a moment where we decided to do a brainstorming session and to think about how it could be done, and when the first good ideas started gelling, we saw the opportunity, and with encouragement, of course, from production, from Thiago, we gave the project as something to tackle personally for Michele Garruggio, a developer that has been working on the game along me and Marco for the entire project. But in that case, we said, okay, while we continue working on the game and so on, put 75% of your time in that and see what you can do with those ideas that we discussed together. And eventually, in no time, he was back with a working prototype, because the components that are needed are really simple, and then the process also is simple. And it was funny because when we started to play with that, we said, well, actually, the Harkonnen bot is playing very well. So he's actually doing a good job in simulating a physical player. So yeah, as soon as we had this confirmation that there was a path that we could follow, we kept having Thiago on our spine above our shoulders and saying, okay, what's going on?
How's it going?
Is it doable? And we said,
okay,
wait a moment.
one more week. Sure, one more week. It's okay. I can wait. Just let me know. If it doesn't work,
it was really
work.
good. It was really good to have you insisting that we were confident, because we didn't want to bring out something that was half-baked and that fell apart. And so, yeah, we were finally confident enough to say, let's do it.
Now I see a question here that actually made me laugh, so sorry, I'll just have to share. Oh, I actually lost it. No. Oh, yes,
What
found
was
it.
that?
Can we get a 0-player mode? Francesco, please. Yes, we can. It's actually called a movie. You can watch.
Yes, exactly.
There are audiobooks as well, so you don't have to read it.
Oh, maybe with TTS you can do this. You can record the game and then watch it. It's a 0-player mode.
0-player mode. I actually had a good question here. Okay, so with the 3D
that
ecological...
wasn't a good question?
I picked it as a joke, but there are no bad questions. With the 3D ecological station stickers, any slight differences in paint jobs will make it obvious which one's which if the same sticker is always under each one. Is there any way to solve this?
Yes, we heard the feedback on this, and we are changing how that works. So it is a good solution that was presented, that if, because you have the tokens, and the tokens are basically a bit smaller than what the figure is. So we are going to redesign the bottom of the base of this, so it can actually slot the original token under it.
Okay.
So basically, you keep the token, you just hide the token with your 3D station there, and then once it's captured, you just go, oh, so it yielded that result. So thanks for the feedback, and yeah, just need to get the factory to make sure it
that's
works.
cool. That's cool.
And the token doesn't stick inside, and it's a whole process to redesign the bottom. But yeah, I think it's a good solution, and yeah, we understand the issue about painters and having that secret information becoming knowable if you know exactly the little particularities of the paint job you did. So yeah, we're doing that.
Fantastic.
Okay, sorry I interrupted when you guys were talking about the solo mode. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're not getting more questions about that. But can you just tell everyone really quickly how it's going to work?
Sure. Well, the goal of the solo mode is to allow one player playing the Atreides faction to play against an automated Harkonnen player, and this allows eventually also to play with two players playing the Atreides faction against an automated Harkonnen. Well, I think it's going to be quite familiar to people used to other types of bots used in solo games, but you have a couple of things. There are 8 cards that are used to identify what is the main objective of the Harkonnen player during a turn, and it's based on the 4 sectors of the map. Of the 8 sectors of the map, and then there's a number, luckily limited, not huge number of criteria that are used to determine what the Harkonnen player is going to do when it's their turn to use an action die, to take an action, based on the position of the armies, on the closeness of the enemy armies, on the proximity of an objective, and so on. So there's a number of things that the single player has to go through to the criteria, and just eliminating the different the ones that do not apply, finding the one that is more appropriate to the moment, and that's basically it. The main thing is that you have to use to roll a die each time. So, well, let's say this up front: it's not 100% identical to a game between 2 players. Some adjustment had to be done to preserve the playability. And the main difference is that you don't roll the action dice of the Harkonnen faction at the same time, so all together, because otherwise it would have been impossible to have a level of surprise for the Atreides player to what the Harkonnen player is going to do. So you lose that possibility that you have in a face-to-face game, when you can look at the action dice of the Harkonnen and think, oh, maybe they don't have a strategy die, so I can be sure that they're not attacking this turn and stuff like that, because you roll 1 die every time it's the turn of the Harkonnen faction to play. So it's a slightly different experience, but what is important, that is 99% of the experience is preserved in the solo game.
Do possible futures work with solo votes?
Yeah, I don't see why not, right?
Yeah. I was about to say one thing I shouldn't have said, but
if you were about to say it, don't say it.
yeah, exactly. I just hit the brakes. Yes,
Good.
you can. Of course, the one of the things that is under scrutiny the most is the solo mode. It's greener than other parts of the rules, so yeah, we'll have to intensively play test the different combinations. But yeah, why not?
Cool. Can you play solo mode? Ah, wait, I missed the comment. Can you play solo mode with the Harkonnen? Some
No.
people just want to be evil. What can I say?
No, I don't. I mean, I can't say that we might one day, not certainly not for this Kickstarter, one day in the future, if the game continues to be a seller and a success with the players, we might. I don't know, but that's not. It's beyond possible futures. And so right now, you can't play the Harkonnen because there's too much that relies on
Secret information
being
for the previous.
secret information. Yes, and so sorry about that. You
It does
get
make
only to
sense,
play
though.
the good guys.
One more question about the possible futures here. Can you play with more than one possible future at once?
Yes, the different possible futures scenarios have more than one character, but that's I have
Yeah,
to see.
I think that there might be a few possible futures, and there's something we might want to note on the rulebook for the mode, that I think most of them are compatible. You can mix and match, but some of them kind of overlap in terms of what they're doing. So
Yes.
those can't be combined. But we'll make
Yeah.
a note of that. But I believe most of them can be played
Yeah,
together.
there are not all the combinations are possible. That's the gist of the mechanic, because of the nature of the characters working in combination with the action dice selection. You can't have too many characters in the same slot.
Roll, yeah.
You can have two, but with too many it becomes messy.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else we want to cover, or shall we move to the next part of this stream?
Ooh. I think we can open that door to the future as well at this point. So I guess we're going to move on to our reveal of the day. Well, one of them actually, but yeah, the big reveal. And yeah, we do have one more expansion to present to you guys. And again, let's do it in the form of an amazing piece of art by Stefano Moroni. What
Here
best
it
way?
is.
So yeah, this is my other wallpaper for the other screen, and and it's just it reeks of spice, that
Yes.
artwork, and yeah, basically what you're looking at there is Smugglers.
Smugglers. I was waiting to see if someone would get it right, because some people got it right with the Space Guild, where I'm
Sorry,
having a
I
glitch.
shouldn't have spelled it.
You should
No,
have
that's
said, but yeah, I guess it was fairly easier than the last time. The
Well,
other
I don't
one
know.
was.
Space Wizard.
I think Spacing Guild was a bit more obvious. Like, you see
really?
weird,
Okay.
mutated people in tanks,
Yeah.
as opposed to this is like Smugglers are
Space Wizards. I like that. We must do new rules for Space Wizards.
Well, I think that's a different franchise, but sure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I think someone at one point wrote me, "May your lightsaber chip and chatter." So,
Your lights.
but so Smugglers, and this is we're basically adding kind of an extra faction in a sense to the game, right? It's not a three-way game or anything like that, but yeah, it's Smugglers coming in to sway the balance of power and the shift of the game in a very interesting and as usual asymmetric way, and just bringing more options and stuff to the table. And yeah, Smugglers
Yeah,
of
it's
Dune.
it's a big set of new tools for the two factions to play with. It's not a third faction, so it's not another major player, but it's another player that can be exploited by both players, the Harkonnen and the Atreides. So again, we didn't want to reinvent, redesign, destroy and rebuild the mechanics for the game, but we wanted to have something that works smoothly with the rest of the game. And in this case, it can be seen as a sort of a satellite component that falls well within the main mechanics of the game, but is not affecting the gameplay if it's not in play. So you can play with a core game fine if you don't want to add this. Of course, Smugglers is going to add a new layer, a new level of depth to the game, probably some, and for sure some additional length to the gameplay. But yeah, it's very much something that is there to use it as the player's leisure. And again, it works very much into the asymmetrical nature of the game, because the Harkonnen faction is going to make use of the Smugglers in a very different way from the Atreides. And again, this is built from what we read in the novel.
I think one important note I'll make about this expansion, which is something that people have been wondering about if that was coming. This is a Kickstarter exclusive expansion. So this expansion will not be going to retail. If you want it, you have to get it on the Kickstarter, and it will not be available later in stores. And I think we can start exploring. I think we can go to the next slide and start talking about basically the two different phases that the game goes through when you add the Smugglers expansion into it, right?
Yeah, in fact, the game starts that the Smugglers are working on planet Dune to smuggle spice out of the planet, despite the rule of the Harkonnen. And this is represented with the concept that at the beginning, the Smugglers are sort of they're neutral, but the Harkonnen are profiting from their presence because they're being paid a tribute by the Smugglers to continue their business. And so this is represented in the game by the fact that the Harkonnen get to have 3 Smugglers harvesters, a maximum of 3 harvesters, additional harvesters to their spice harvesting operations. And this means here they are. So this means that you get more of those huge spice collecting machines to enhance your capability to get more spice during every round. And this lasts as long as the Atreides player is able to get the Smugglers on the Atreides side. And this is represented by the position of a figure on the prophecy track, on the prescience track of the board. And the figure is that of Staban Tuek, the leader of the Smugglers.
The new leader after his father was killed by the Harkonnen.
Yes. And when any one of the prescience markers reaches the figure of Staban Tuek on the track, then it means that Gurney Halleck, that in the story was lost among the Smugglers, is back with the alliance of the Smugglers and bringing them into the war to the side of the Atreides faction. And this means that you can you place on the board a figure of the Smugglers base on a desert area, so it's up to the Atreides player to choose where. And as you can see, there's a small dashboard for the Smugglers base that shows how many units you are able to field together. I mean, to the side of your own Fremen allies fight the battle. And this is based again on mechanics, because you start putting those figures on the dashboard and then from the dashboard to the board. Also, There's also an additional die, an additional action die in a different color, that is the Smuggler die. And a mechanic of the game pushes the Atreides player to try and capture the Smuggler harvesters when they are not allied to the Atreides, because if you capture a Smuggler's harvester, of course, on one side, you deprive the Harkonnen of one of their precious machines, but at the same time, you keep the figure, because at the start of a turn, you can discard it to roll the Smuggler die in addition to yours. So you get one additional action. Well, there's, of course, a number of additional things that govern the use of the Smugglers figures, and you also get Smugglers drone ornithopters that when the Smugglers are allied to the Atreides, you can use them to disturb the operations of the Harkonnen ornithopters by occupying their own air zones, for example, because they are placed before the Harkonnen player's places its own. And then they can be used exactly like the Harkonnen ornithopters to move armies faster. So yeah, it's a good number of additional things. And yeah, of course, and then we have also Stabantwek as a leader that can be used on the board.
Yes, I think we can go to the next slide. So we look
Yeah,
at
speaking of these guys.
units. Yeah. So here we have the Fremen the Smuggler regulars and Stabantwik. So the regulars, they are like regular units, so that they work like the regular units in the other armies. But basically, like you're building this reserve of extra units as you're working to get the smugglers on your side. You're building your influence with them, and then depending on how well you did, you're going to bring like these reinforcements into the game for the Atreides faction once the turn happens. And of course, once the turn happens, Stabantwek also joins the Atreides side as a fully playable leader, joining the armies on the board and leading them. And yeah, again, a very as I say in the book, like a romantic businessman. I think it's a very moody kind of miniature. I really enjoyed it.
True.
Yeah.
It does have
yeah, and what I was about to spoil a few minutes ago was.
Are you sure you can
that,
spoil now?
yeah, I can. Is that you can? There's no reason why you cannot play the solo game using also the Smugglers expansion.
Sure, yeah.
That was something I was about to say.
Yeah, there is a question about that. Can either / both expansions be used in solo mode?
Yeah, I'm not sure we've nailed on Spacing Guild yet, right? Or
we haven't yet an answer for Spacing Guild, but I mean, I should confidently say we will be able, but it's not on the playtest table with the Spacing Guild and the solo, because the solo is a fairly recent addition to the rules compendium for the Dune game. But of course, we will look into that.
Can we go to the next slide? Because those are the things I love. This
Yeah.
I love the Smuggler units. I don't know why they have a different kind of aesthetic. They are bulkier than the Harkonnen one. So you can kind of imagine like they don't have like the top of the line vehicles. So it's heavier machinery. It's sturdier stuff that they've been using for decades on Arrakis. And yeah, so I really enjoy the ebb and flow that this brings to the game. So basically, you have the Smugglers initially neutral, with the Harkonnen who are in power, basically getting as much out of them as they can in terms of basically spice production. So you have use of the harvester and the Smuggler carryall. So you have your spice operations are increased, and you can manage that. Use the carryall to save the harvesters and whatnot. Although it's a kind of a subtle thing that Harkonnen and Smuggler units don't mix well. So like you will not see like a Harkonnen carryall rescuing a Smuggler harvester, because they just don't do that. They don't mess with that scum, and vice versa. So basically it's not an alliance. It's just they are profiting off of what the smugglers do on the board, while they are able to keep them neutral and not side with the Atreides. And then you have that goal for the Atreides to reach the point of where Stabantuek is on the board. But of course, they can manipulate that. They can like play special cards to try and bring that objective a bit closer until like halfway through the game, and that depends on how well each side does that job. And hopefully, once the game turns, the Harkonnen should have benefited enough, like use their advantage to the best of their abilities, because now they're going to be at a setback when the smugglers join the Atreides, and now the Atreides have more troops. They have they have the use of ornithopters, which is something they would never able to use before. They have Stabantuek on the board. They have an extra die for them to use. They have if they captured some of the smuggler harvesters, they can manipulate their die in a stronger way. But I think one thing that I find quite interesting that you didn't mention there is the smuggler base there, and that is a very delicate point for the Atreides, because that governs the smugglers, and if that base is destroyed, they lose the smugglers. So there is a counterplay for the Harkonnen as well, so they don't get crushed once the Atreides come with like the full might of the smugglers. But it's something that the Atreides can play against. They can protect the base, so and they can hide the base away from the Harkonnen. So yeah, it's all these interesting new dynamics that add to the game, but it's all within the same scope of what the game is. We're not creating we're not adding new things to it. We're just playing with the tool set that we were given and just adding a few more bells and whistles to it.
Yeah. I see a question here, really quickly. Will expansions be getting the upgraded cardboard from the stretch goals?
Yes. Because we were planning for this. Hopefully, and thankfully we were able to do the upgrade for the core box for the exclusive core box for the people backing the Kickstarter. So yeah, both expansions, those boards are thick cardboard, so everything will fit together and will be at the same level of quality.
Oh. Another one, but that's a gameplay one. When the Atreides use the Smuggler Harvester, is it discarded or able to reuse?
At this point of the playtest, it is discarded. So it doesn't go back to the Harkonnen to be used again.
Yeah, because it's not that the Atreides are using the harvester to harvest. They're basically using the influence they've gained with the smugglers. By capturing the harvester to gain that edge and that advantage. Yep. It's basically a trophy that they've captured, and now they're cashing it in.
Cool. Okay, I see a few good ones. Let me try to get to a good order here. Will this game be available for purchase at Essen,
this game will not be available.
Which is in.
I wish.
Aranha, can you do it?
Well, I don't know which year you're talking about, but this Essen, I would not count on it. No.
But if we bump into people at Essen, we will happily talk about it.
Oh yes, you're attending Essen then. If people want to ask you questions directly, they can find you there.
Of course, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Actually, after all these pandemic years, so
can you cut to me? I like to play with some toys here for the people.
Yes, so of course that's an interesting request. By all means.
Yeah, just I like showing because we have the models, and I like how it's less elegant machinery, but it looks like sturdy and built to last and built to keep a lot of spice there on those silos.
Like a container on tracks.
Yeah,
and I like that in general, especially the carryall looks like it's something out of Miyazaki's mind.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can see that how it's bulkier than the Harkonnen
Yeah.
version, and same thing with the Smuggler Thopter. Like it's a heavier piece of machinery when you compare it to the where am I the Harkonnen one.
It's like a Soviet ornithopter.
Yeah, and you have the Smuggler base, which again we did directly in 3D. Like it's kind of a temporary like camp settlement. They just put down some containers and erected like something in the middle of the desert. But my favorite piece, and I think this actually might be my favorite piece of the whole game, is the Smuggler carryall. You can imagine it going.
Yeah.
Like, look
That's
at this.
very, very
Look at
Miyazaki.
this. Like, and this is such a good implementation of the. I think one of the descriptions of the carryall is kind of it's a wing. It's a wing, a flying wing, and so but it's also a thopter. So basically, what you have here is like one big like flying wing plane, but also with the fluttering thopter sub wings, and you have the
Wings.
like the whole connection to the harvester at the bottom, and you have like this kind of almost kind of World War II kind of aesthetic with the plates and a bit bug-like most of the things in Dune tend to be, and the rotors, and I don't know, it just looks awesome, and you're gonna see this painted in the update. Big Child painted this, and it looks every bit as good as you would imagine. And yeah, and in that theme, like it is bulkier and bigger than the Harkonnen one. It's a big like flying fortress basically.
Yes.
Love
Yeah.
it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
And it does have that same thing that seems to attach to the harvester, which is really cool.
Yeah, the same system. Where it catches it and flies away. So yeah, that's the gist of the Smugglers expansion. That once the live stream is over, we are going to make that available for people, and I think we can actually.
Yes, going to that, I have a question that will lead us there. Is this the last expansion?
This is the last expansion. That's a very. It's so weird to give a straightforward answer. Like
On this, because the Kickstarters are all about surprises.
No, better not tell you now. No, this is the last expansion. I think we said from the get-go, like this is a more contained Kickstarter because due to just what the game is. So this is the last expansion for the game. And do you have any other questions that? Just talking about Smugglers itself before I move on a little bit?
No, I think we should. See a few more questions, but let's move on a little bit because I think it'll clear up a few of them.
Sure. I see the question popping up right now. So this is an exclusive expansion. Now, okay? Now.
You are giving very direct answers today.
I was just about. Don't interrupt me. I was just about to. Come on. So this is an exclusive expansion for $40 on the Kickstarter, and with this being the last expansion, we are going to present our. We're going to do a special pledge for people to get the core box and the Spacing Guild, all the stretch goals, and the Smugglers expansion in one nice pledge, which if the base pledge is the Harvester pledge, what do we call this sort of gameplay all-in pledge? Come on, if you get it right, I'll put some sand in your pledge, in your box.
What is that a good thing? Adding sand to the box?
Yeah, congratulations, Brian Sherry. You're going to get some extra sand in your box.
Congratulations!
It'll be the carry-all pledge, of course. It's not the cleverest thing, but it just makes so much sense. So that's what we're going with. And of course, it is a gameplay all-in. We're not including the playmat in the all-in pledge because we know that the playmat is an accessory that not everybody takes. So we want to force people to have to take it. If you don't want it, you can just add it to your carry-all pledge to have everything. Now a few things. So one good thing is I don't know. Let's see. No one. Oh yeah, I knew someone would try to guess Highliner pledge, but the thing is, it's not that big, and that's a good thing because yeah, it's not a Highliner pledge. The Highliners are huge and heavy, so the good thing about this is not that big, and that means like the shipping estimates for the carry-all pledge are not that much higher than the harvester pledge. In fact, for many destinations, it's only $1 or $2 more expensive in terms of shipping. For most countries, it's less than $10 extra for the shipping. So it doesn't change your shipping estimates that much. However, we know that even with it not adding a lot, shipping is expensive. Yeah, we realize it, we heard it, we are aware of it, that shipping is expensive because it is expensive. And there's not much we can do about that at this point, that those are the shipping estimates, that's what we're going to pay for shipping. However, what we can do and what we have been doing throughout this campaign is we can cut our margins, we can give discounts on the actual products. And that's what we've been doing. So we are giving a $30 discount on the core box from 140 to 110 in the base pledge. We gave a $10 discount on the Space Ingot expansion compared to retail. And now for the carry-all pledge, we are going to add an extra $30 discount on top of that. That's a total discount from retail that is of $70. That's a lot. Like if you, especially if you take into account the percentage, because we're talking about a relatively cheap all-in. That's a lot. It's $70 less than retail. That is more than the total shipping cost for most of the USA, Europe, Asia, and several other countries. So that is what we can do to try to offset the expensive price of shipping, cut our profits, cut our margins, try to give you as big a discount as we possibly can. So hopefully you can enjoy all of this, because it took a lot of work to do this. We want you to have it. And we want the game to be successful. We want everybody to enjoy it. It really pains us when we see someone saying, I love this game, but the shipping is so expensive, I don't think I can do it. So we're doing all we can to bring it to you at a price that you hopefully find affordable and reasonable. And that's it.
Actually, I have one more thing to add. On top of what Aranha just said, on our end, I think I have a little surprise there. We will be holding, and it starts now, I guess, a small contest, and we will be covering the upgrade from a base pledge to an all-in pledge to one backer. All you have to do is go to the comments of this video, not the live chat, the actual comments, and answer one question. We'll select a winner by the end of the day. And the question is, what does spice taste like? You guys were having the nicest discussion in the other live stream, so we thought this would be a nice way to reward those of you who have dedicated so much time to thinking, what does it taste like? So we'll cover the upgrade, just the upgrade, from one base pledge to an all-in pledge. Just answer the question later on. You have until the end of the day. Today is Tuesday, the 20th. Just to clarify.
Awesome. Yeah, take that chance. To me, it tastes like victory.
Wow. I was not expecting philosophical answers. I was expecting like cinnamon.
I love the smell of spice in the morning. Actually, there's one thing I think someone mentioned that I forgot to mention about the all-in pledge and all that, about how we're going to. First of all, someone asking, would there be more stretch goals? Yes, there will be more stretch goals. Please let there be more stretch goals. It depends on you, because like we have stuff to give. We want to give it to you, but we need to stretch for us to reach that. But yeah, we have some stuff, but we are going to pack all the stretch goals into the core box. We are making an exclusive version of the core box just for backers that will be able to hold all the stretch goals inside it with the core box, with everything. So you have like one neat storage solution for the base game and the stretch goals all together. It'll be a bit bigger, but it still helps with it is not as big as two separate boxes for sure. So we can optimize the space there, and give it a nice treatment. See what we can do in terms of like making it feel special and exclusive, and something for you to be proud to keep in your collection. So hope you enjoy that. I think that it's a nice solution to have your box, which you can of course store in any way you can, upside down or upright, and yeah, that's that.
Okay, so that's a lot of reviews for one day.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We don't have long to go now. Tonight we'll reach the final
48 hours.
48 hours. How are you all feeling about that? Those are
I'm
very
curious.
busy times for you guys.
Yeah, I hope we have a nice ending. Be prepared to appreciate what you meet. That's always what I say, and it works either way.
Sure. What about you, Francesco?
Yeah, it's been an intense. It's been a short campaign, but an intense one. But again, to the cost of to the risk of repeating myself, but I really appreciated what happened with the tabletop simulator. It was this instant gratification to be able to see immediately the response of the players, even when it was not positive. I mean, we had criticism, but the criticism was incredibly useful. Of course, all the comments, positive, negative, and middle of the road, were extremely motivating to us to say,
as long as they're respectful. I would remind
as long as they're respectful. Absolutely. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that you're even more expert than I am on this, but I tend not to even see the disrespectful ones. So if you have something interesting,
them right out.
If you have something interesting to say, if you have something interesting to say, and if you'd like us to listen, just be polite, and we will listen whatever it contains. And we really did. And again, the process of designing the game was a long one. It took a long time, and playtesting. This part of the process, the playtesting, the Kickstarter, spiced up all of us again. It was another moment where we said, okay, we have reasons to do even better than that and to improve the design, and we will be sure of that.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll leave you guys to the final update now. Wrong. Everyone watching us, remember to participate in our Spice Blow contest. Leave a comment in the video, not in the live chat. I've seen a lot of answers in the live chat, and as much as I appreciate them, and some of them are really funny, they unfortunately don't count. So leave a comment down below once we're done. And finally, one last question before we wrap this up. Sure. What's the primary song you guys listen while playing the game? You guys are actually giving it thought. I thought you were just going to outright say Spice Girls.
No,
definitely
that's disappointing. The answer is Spice Girls. They're not answering.
No, and something I would turn everybody on to the Children of Dune soundtrack, because it's.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I listened to that when you mentioned.
Yeah, the Children of Dune soundtrack from the miniseries. It's a criminally underappreciated soundtrack. It's one of the best soundtracks ever for a show that few people saw, and listen to it. Inam Anushif makes me dream, and the Jihad makes me want to, I don't know, get into a field battle. You know what? I used to play rugby, and when I was driving to training, I would listen to the Jihad to get pumped up and ready to. Okay, I don't care about my flesh. I am going to victory and glory. So yeah, it works.
Don't listen to them, guys. It's Spice Girls. Anyway. let's wrap this up. Thank you both so much for joining me today. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great final 48 hours.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Thanks for backing. Thanks for supporting
you.
us. And I hope you enjoy this last couple of days of the campaign and then the game.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.